My dear students, today our class is over Harappan civilization. A reason for choosing this topic is that it is a first urbanized civilization that had ever seen in the Indian subcontinent during the ancient days. As such, today I have chosen this class. And before going to take class in lengthy, let us learn a few words. The meaning of the history. The meaning of the history is that the contemporary political, economic, social, cultural, and religious aspects of the human being, otherwise the treasure trove of the knowledge of the human being are written in documentation that might be in book form, in an inscription, or in epigraphy, or in bark and bridge, and transmitted down to the generations to come is known as history. The treasure trove of the knowledge of the society transmitted to the next generation to come is known as history. In written formation, it has a written documentation and prehistory. The prehistory means it lacks writing. Historians completely depends upon artifacts or antiques and found in the excavations. And for example, a prehistory, during the Stone Age, man led nomadic life, and for his hunting animals used different tools. So as such, in the excavations, the material found, and based on this material found in the excavations, the historians beautifully constructed the prehistory that lacks writing, and the historians and students are completely confined and completely depending upon the material available in the excavations is known as prehistory. Then proto-history. The proto-history has writing, but mainly historians depends upon the material found in the excavations. For example, Harappan civilization, rightly called as a proto-history. Though Harappans has got writing in the form of the pictographic in nature, historians fail to decipher it yet. As such, our historians completely depend upon the material found in the excavation. As such, our Harappan civilization are rightly called as a prehistory. Then carbon dating technology. The carbon dating technology. The carbon dating technology or C14 technology or radio technology. The radiocarbon data, also referred to as carbon-14 technology, it's a method for determining the age of a given object. Determining the age of a given object is known as if you want to know discover the age of a given object through the process of radiocarbon technology. Then culture. Culture means the way of life of human being is known as culture. That means the ideas, the customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society is known as culture. Then civilization. Civilization means an advancement in way of life is known as civilization. For example, during the Stone Age, man has got his own sort of culture. But during the and Stone Age further divided into three segments such as Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. During the age of Paleolithic and Mesolithic, man led a nomadic life and hunted animals, ate raw dish of animals. But when he entered into the Neolithic age, he started sedentary life, started tilling the land, started growing the crops, and started the cooking the food, and yet cook the food. That means an advancement in culture is known as civilization. Then let us concentrate on today's topic on urban civilization. My dear students, be cautious, be alert. Hitherto, our historians thought that our civilization commences with the advent of Aryans onto the soil of India, who settled in and around Sapta Saindava region around 1500 BC. But when the excavation taken place in the year 1921, it came to the limelight that our civilization not started with the advent of Aryans, rather it preceded to that of the Aryan civilization. Rather, it preceded to that of the Aryan civilization and confined to 3rd to 4th millennium BC. It was a highly developed civilization and a highly developed urbanization that had ever seen in the contemporary Indian subcontinent. After that, there were more than 1500 sites were excavated, out of which half dozen cities were highly developed, such as Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Chenhu-daro, Kalibangan, Banwali, and Lothal. The extent of this civilization is that in the north from Manda in the Kashmir to up to Daimabad in Maharashtra, in the east from Alimgarh in the Uttar Pradesh to west up to Makaran coast, and which confine this, it looks like a radius, and the radius of this civilization around 1.32 square million kilometers. That looks like an empire. The entire radius of this civilization looks like an empire that consists of 1.32 a square million kilometers. Okay. Then who were builders of such a highly civilized society? Indigenous people, or foreigners, or aliens, and who were builders? And in this connection, there is no unanimity among the historians. Different historians propounded different theories. Let us look at those theories. Number one, foreign theory that was propounded by Mortimer Wheeler. A foreign theory or Sumerian theory and etc. and northwestern theory or Baluchi theory that was presented by Professor Rafi, and indigenous theory that was presented by a Ghosh. Let us concentrate on foreign theory. A Mortimer Wheeler presented this theory. He argued that the Harappan civilization are diffused through the air, that is, from Mesopotamia and to Babylonia. He came to the conclusion that the artifacts that were found in the excavations in Sumeria, that means Sumeria and Babylonia, and the artifacts, the material found in the excavation and Harappan civilization has got similarities. As such, a material found in the Harappan civilization and as well as material found in the Sumerian civilization has got similarities. As such, he came to the conclusion that our civilization might have been diffused from the foreign, that is Mesopotamia. But other historians not agree to his theory. Rather, they say that, okay, my dear Martin Malvira, you said, but we don't. The reasons are such that number one, Harappans constructed their houses with burnt bricks. Harappans constructed their houses with the burnt bricks, whereas Sumerian people, Mesopotamian people constructed their houses with dried mud bricks. Here, the people constructed with the burnt bricks, their people constructed with the dried mud bricks. Number one. Number two. The people of Harappans gave utmost priority for the sanitization. The construction of drainage system up to the mark during the Harappan civilization, which is absent in the Mesopotamia. Here, highly developed sanitization, highly developed drainage system prevailed in the Harappan civilization, which lacked in the Mesopotamian civilization. Number two. Number three. Between Harappan civilization and Mesopotamian civilization, there is a long way. There are thousands of kilometers between this civilization and that civilization. If at all, the people of Mesopotamia migrated towards India, there are in between these two places, there were thousands of fertile tracts. In between, there are thousands of fertile tracts. There might have been settled the people of Mesopotamia. If at all they have migrated, they might have settled at these places for some time. But when excavation taken place at these places, no settlements were found. As such, because of these reasons, use of burnt bricks in the Harappan civilization, use of highly sanitized, highly developed drainage system in Harappan civilization, and as there are no settlements at those fertile tracts laid between the Harappan civilization and Mesopotamian civilization. Because of these three reasons, other historians are blindly refused, are blindly rejected, are blindly repudiated the theory that was presented by Mortimer Wheeler. As such, foreign theory is blindly rejected. Then Baluchi theory, that was profounded by Professor Rafi. He says that our Harappan civilization might have been diffused from the Baluchi settlements. Baluchi settlements such as Nal, Kul, Job, Quetta, and etc. But the similarities are found in the excavations, surpassed, supplanted, superseded by dissimilarities found in the excavations. Highly polished, well-made pottery available in the Harappan civilization that lacks in the Baluchi civilization. Highly developed sanitization that lacks in the Baluchi civilization, and there are so many reasons. As such, the theory that was proposed by Professor Rafi in the name of the Baluchi has rightly been rejected by many historians. Then, indigenous theory. Indigenous theory propounded by Ghosh. During the Stone Age, man led the nomadic life, hunted animals for the sake of food. But when he entered into the Neolithic age, around 10,000 BC or 8,000 BC, he started settling at one place and started tilling the land, started growing the crops, and started constructing of huts. This group of huts and started cooking the food and started making the well-made pottery in preservation of not only water, not only cooking up the food, but also grains. As such, these huts further blossomed into that of the villages. And these villages further blossomed into that of the semi-towns, and these towns further blossomed into that of the towns, ultimately, finally culminated into that of the highly developed cities such as Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Chenhudaro, Kalibangan, and Panwali. As such, our Harappan civilization builders were our forefathers. Our forefathers built our civilization, not foreigners, not aliens. Our forefathers have built our civilization. Then, salient features of Harappan civilizations. In nutshell, actually it takes hours together. In nutshell, let us learn. Salient features of Harappan civilization. Number one, town planning, polity, economy, society, and religion. Let us learn about town planning. Yes. Harappan culture was distinguished by its a system of town planning. There are more than 1,500 towns, but as many as 6 towns were metropolitan cities, such as Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Chenhudaro, Lothal, Kalibangan, and Panwali. Roads were very wide and cutting across the right angles based on the grid pattern. And there is a highly developed sanitized construction of a drainage system. Even today, when it is rain, when we see the incessant rain in Hyderabad, we can see stagnation of water in Hyderabad. So in those days, Harappan people followed highly developed a drainage system. And then, at every intervals, construction of manholes, drainage manholes, and construction of lightings at every intervals, and watch system. And at the site of Citadel, there were construction of multi-storied buildings. In the eastern side, construction of two-roomed, one-roomed barracks. That means social division prevailed during the Harappan civilization. In the western side, construction of multi-storied buildings, whereas eastern side, construction of one-room, two-room buildings. And we can see construction of great granaries. We can see great granary at Mohenjo-daro for preservation of the grains, for preservation of the food grains, and we can see as many as 12 granaries at Harappa, Kalibangan, and Banwali, and also construction of great bath. Construction of great bath. R.S. Sharma says that it might have been used for the purpose of swimming pool for the elite class people, whereas Dr. Mackay said that it might have been used for the purpose of pushkarinis. Pushkarini means when we enter into the temple, people will not only wash off feet but also soul. But before entering into the sanctum of a temple, offering oblations. But we do not know unless we know the scriptures of the Harappan for which purpose that great bath was used. Then construction of cemeteries outside the cities. Construction of cemeteries or graveyards outside of the cities also one of the peculiar one during the Harappan civilization. Then polity. The polity is obscure in nature. The polity is obscure in nature. But R.S. Sharma says traders might have been ruled the Harappan civilization, whereas A.L. Basham says that it might have been theocratic in nature. That means priests might have been ruled this. Whoever might be the rulers, but there might have been some sort of administration prevailed. Without administration, such a highly urbanized, civilized society would not have been seen during the 3rd, 4th million BC in the Indian subcontinent. Then economy. The Harappans knew the economy, please. Economy. Harappans grown crops in the floodplains. So most of the towns constructed on the banks of the rivers. So after floods, they used to grow the crops in the fertile plains. And before receding of the floods, they used to cut off. They used to grow rice, wheat, barley for food grains, and also they used to grow commercial crops such as cotton and sugarcane. Harappan people were first to grow cotton in the world, and they used to grow the cereals, and they used to grow the pulses such as red grams, green grams, black grams, and etc. And they led the trade and transactions internally, internationally. Yeah, internally, they laden on the back of the not only donkeys and horses, but internationally, they led the trade with the Mesopotamian through the Arabian, and we can find a dockyard at Lothal, which resembles there was a navigation between India and Mesopotamia. And weights and measures. The people of Harappan followed weights and measures, and basic unit was 16, 16, 32, 64, and so on. So people of Harappan followed weights and measures, and for the purpose of agriculture, cultivation of agriculture, they constructed gabarbans. Gabarban means a stone dams, just like stone dams, just like present check dams. So while constructing check dams, they followed irrigation system, growing the agriculture, and they followed different industries, a pottery, seals, a brick industry, and metal industry, a bead industry, terracotta industry, and jewel industry, and also a bronze industry. Bronze, they used to, they made bronze dancing girl through the technology of lost wax technology or side painted technology. Romila Thapar beautifully narrated about the side painted technology, but we don't have time. Later on we will know that thing. That society of people, Harappan people know the writing in the form of pictographic nature, but our historians fail to decipher it yet. And Harappan society might be matriarchal society because in excavations we found so many artifacts on which we can see the pictures of women more. And people followed different fashions. They used to be remove the beard and mistresses, and they used to grow the long hair. And whereas the women give utmost priority for the purityness, and women followed different hairstyle, pigtails, parted hairs, and bun-shaped as women used to follow, and women applied a beauty spot, collyrium, a beauty spot, vermilion, collyrium, nose pin, a lipstick, earrings, necklace, and bangles, and sometimes women used to wear bangles up to the armpit, and also women used to wear anklets. Women, you give priority for the utmost pureness, and the people of Harappa followed different amusements, and they used to follow outdoor. They used to play outdoor games such as bullfight, ram fight, cockfight, and etc. And indoor games such as chess and snake biting and etc. The Harappan people were first to play chess in the world. And also, Harappan people give a priority for the chariot or racing. Then the religion. Harappan people professed Mother Goddess most, and they prayed Pashupati Mahadeva, a prototype of Shiva. And also, the people of Harappa prayed to natural forces, and they prayed to nature, such as they prayed poultry, animals, snakes, and birds, and such as pigeons, etc. They prayed to bull in the form of a jabu. And also they prayed phallic worship. Phallic worship means a reproductive organs of male and female. playing reproductive organs of male and female is known as, in the form of lingam and yoni, is known as phallic wash. Then eclipse. It's not declined. It's eclipsed. There are many reasons for the eclipse of the Harappan civilizations. Different historians theorized in different way. Number two, suicidal weakness of the Harappans, lack of fertility of the soil, Indus floods, and Aryan migration. And number one, suicidal weakness of the Harappans. They never imitate new things, new technology. For example, iron was absent in the Harappan civilization. They are never craving for the new technology. They followed suicidal technology, lack of plasticity in the mind of the people of the Harappans. When the floods devastated Mohenjo-daro 7 times and Lothal 5 times, they constructed 7 times at the same place, and they constructed 5 times Lothal term at the same time. It's a lack of plasticity of mind, lack of a craving for new technology. And for example, the lack of iron technology, they could not withstand the onslaughts of the Aryans in later days. Uh, and and for example, Harappans never give priority for the defensive weapons. They gave only weapons, offensive priority for the offensive weapons rather than defensive weapons such as shields and armor. First, we should protect ourselves. Then we have to attack the enemy. See how we call the police department, military department as defensive. First, we have to defend ourselves. Then we attack the enemy later on, because of the lack of plasticity of mind in the Harappans. Also, one of the reasons. Then lack of fertility of soil. When the Harappans constructed houses with the burnt bricks, they used to construct the forestation for the burning of the bricks. Slowly, construction, the cutting of the forest became the deforestation, thereby lack of the precipitation. Because of the lack of precipitation, and there is no further growing of the vegetation, and also upliftment of the Arabian Sea also caused for the salinization, and also by spread of the Thar desert is also responsible for the lack of the fertile of the soil. Because of these reasons, lack of the fertility of soil. Then Indus floods. The most of the towns were constructed on the banks of the river. As most of the towns constructed on the banks of the rivers during the floods, these towns were washed away along with the flood water. That was also one of the reasons. And earthquakes also one of the reasons for the eclipse of the Harappan civilization. And a ponting theory. Ponting theory means submersion of low-lying. For example, during our Chief Minister K. Roshia, our Kurnool town was submerged due to backwaters of Tungabhadra River. Due to backwaters of Tungabhadra River, low-lying areas were submerged. It is nothing but known as ponting theory. Due to ponting theory also, Harappan civilization eclipse, it caused for the one of the reasons. And last but not least is Aryan migrations. The Aryan migrations. Aryans migrated from the steppes, that is place light south of the Ural regions, South Russia. and it is also corroborated not only ideological, not only based on excavation and also based on the studies of the Indology. Study of the Indology means study of language and study of word. And the Aryans migrated. The step is that were corroborated by not only excavations but also Indology. Indology means study of language. Study of language. So Aryans migrated as such as as Aryans migrations, and it was also caused for the one of the regions. And yes, survival and continuity and town planning. Still we are following the urban civilization, construction of road rights and the drainage system at every intervals, manuals, and the construction of lamp post and watch system, and the construction of swimming pools. If RS Sharma were correct, that great bath used for the swimming purpose of the elite classes. When we go to the Jubilee Hills and Banjar Hills, we can see that construction of swimming pools in the courtyards of elite classes. It's a continuation. If it is as states by the Dr. Mackay, it was used for the Pushkarinis. Pushkarani means when a devotee entered into the temple premises, before going into the sanctum sanctorum, the devotee will wash off his foot, not only for the purification of body, but also purification of soul, before entering into the sanctum sanctorum and offering oblations. It is also continuity and polity. India is unity and diversity. Though we are living in different ethnics, different groups, different castes, different religions, our Indians still living in peace and tranquility, except sporadic incidents. And the same was followed by the Harappan people. It's nothing but a legacy left behind by our Harappan people. And economy, we are growing rice, wheat, and barley, and food. That those are food crops. Still, we are growing nothing but a continuity. That legacy left behind by the Harppans. Commercial crops such as cotton and sugarcane, legacy left behind the Harappan people, and pulses such as red grams, green grams, black grams, and cereals. These are all we learned from our forefathers. Nothing but Harappans is nothing but a survival and continuity. And society, still women is giving utmost priority for beautiness, wearing beauty spot, wearing vermilion, wearing collyrium and lipstick, nose ring, and necklace, bangles, and anklets is nothing but a legacy left behind by our Harappans, our forefathers, and still we are following cockfight during the Sankranti. It's nothing. Cockfight, bullfight, chariot race, and indoor games such as chess. Now all these things left behind by Harappans, nothing but a survival and continuity. Then, then praying of bull in the form of Chebu. Still, in the countryside, when we go to temple, we can see cows and bulls outside the premises of temple. Devotees, soon after coming out of the premises of temple, they pray cow and bull as god and goddesses. It's nothing but a continuation, survival that has been left behind. That's a legacy left behind by our parents. Then religion. Then we are following Mother Goddess, Amba, Kali, Parvati, and etc. Nothing but a legacy behind by our Harappans, still we are following, praying Mutyalamma, Poleramma, Nallapochamma, Renakamma, and etc. Praying Mother Goddess is nothing but a legacy left behind by our Harappan people. And Shiva, prototype of Shiva, nothing but a Pashupati Shiva left behind by our forefathers, Harappans, and Phallic worship, praying regenerative organs of male and female in the form of lingam and yoni. Still we are continuing. You go to Gudimallam temple, still our people are praying lingam Shiva in the form of lingam. It's a nearby Srikalahasti Tirupati, and you can see Jogalamba temple or the Shakti Parasakti, nothing but a praying. It's legacy left behind by our Harappan, our people, our forefather. It's a survival and continuity. As such, my dear students, my dear viewers, still we are following Harappan civilization. And see, though Harappan civilization had disappeared in the sea of the Aryanization, traveled like undercurrent of water, surfaced slowly, mixed with that of the cultural tenets of Indo-Bactrians, Greeks, Parthians, Scythians, Huns, and during medieval ages and Islam, and during modern age with that of the European cultures such as Portuguese, Dutch, French, and finally English, and it kept on its own identity, still following in our present society in different fields such as town planning, polity, economy, society, and religion. Goodbye, my dear viewers. Goodbye.